On her wedding day, right in front of everyone, the bride called it off. She announced that my half-brother was the true love of her life, and then they ran off together. So, I turned around and called up my childhood friend, who was also a bit of a nemesis. Chloe Summers answered the phone, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Well, this is a surprise. What prompted you to call me today?" I chuckled. "I'm getting married today." There was a pause, followed by a dry laugh. "You're getting married? I already sent you a gift. You're not calling to make fun of me for being cheap, are you?" I grinned and replied, "I heard you're still single. Want to get married today? I've got a wedding all set up, but I'm short one bride." Before I could finish, I heard a crash on the other end of the line. "Ethan Black, are you serious?" Chloe asked, her voice strained. I said, "Have I ever lied to you?" Chloe was silent for a moment, then she burst out laughing. "Ethan, do you know what the consequences are if I show up there? It means I'll only do 4 things with you, every single day." I knew what she meant. I couldn't hide the grin on my face. "I'll give you half an hour." I hung up, and my best friend, Alex, clapped me on the shoulder in support. "Chloe's great, man, you know that." I smiled and nodded. I knew. I wasn't choosing Chloe because I had no other options. We'd been classmates since elementary school, sat next to each other for all 5 years of middle and high school. We bickered almost every day. Back then, I didn't understand why she always had to argue with me. It wasn't until I had that car accident and saw Chloe rushing towards me without a thought for her own safety that it clicked. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. The wedding planner's voice called out, "Mr. Black, is the bride ready? The ceremony is about to begin." I smiled. "Almost ready." I knew Chloe was a woman of her word. 20 minutes later, Chloe appeared in the doorway. I stared, speechless. She was wearing a gorgeous gown, meticulously styled from head to toe, with every hair perfectly in place. You'd think she'd been planning this for months. The only thing out of place was the simple watch on her wrist. I recognized it instantly, the birthday present I'd given her in 10th grade. I was touched that she still wore it. Seeing the surprise in my eyes, she smirked. "So, your bride ran off, and I'm the first person you thought of? You've been lusting after me for years, haven't you?" I said confidently, "Chloe, I'm not exactly a bad catch. You should be thanking me for curing your fear of men." Chloe nearly choked with laughter. "My fear of men? That's all your fault." True or not, she was always the top student, the one everyone loved. She was valedictorian and homecoming queen in high school. Tons of guys had crushes on her. Back when she turned me down, because I didn't like the fact that she rejected me, I went around telling everyone that Chloe had a phobia of men. To this day, she'd never had a serious relationship, or even held hands with a guy. Chloe scowled. "Do you know how many dates that rumor cost me?" I raised my eyebrows. "Well, now I'm making up for it with a husband. Now you don't even have to date." Chloe put a finger to her lips, a mischievous smile playing on her face. "Careful now." At that moment, the MC's voice came over the speaker, urging, "The bride and groom, the ceremony is about to begin." I offered my right hand, and Chloe placed her smaller hand in mine, squeezing my arm tightly. My racing heart slowly began to calm. Chloe glanced at me and asked, "You suddenly switched brides. Is your father okay with this?" I feigned confidence. "As long as I get married, I'll get 15% of my grandfather's shares. If you marry me, you get 10% of the shares and what's yours is mine, so then I'll have the loudest voice in the Black family." Chloe looked at my confident smile and vaguely saw the silhouette of the teenager who never gave up. But luckily, Wendy Williams had left. "I would never have had a chance to be with you." As they were setting up the stage, the families of both sides noticed the switch. Wendy's mother was so shocked that she didn't know what to do. She quickly tried to call Wendy, but couldn't get through. Realizing what was happening, Wendy's grandmother fell in her chair, and said, "It's okay, we still have to finish the ceremony so we do not ruin Ethan's special day. As we were exchanging rings, Chloe glanced up at me. I don't have any family, and if you marry me, there will be a lot less family obligations. Think it through and also know that I am not easy to be with and I like to bully you. I gave her a serious look. Chloe, I mean it. Even though everyone was shocked, they cheered and were still happy to be at our wedding. That night, the show we put on was too good to return to my family. So I went with Chloe to her place. I asked her about who had cleaned the place for me and she told me that she planned that Wendy would not come back. I got changed into my clothes and asked where I would be sleeping. Chloe hesitated and then smiled. If you want to, you can sleep in my room. I frowned. We have been arguing for almost our entire lives, so it's weird to be married. Seeing my doubt, Chloe pointed to the side. Your room is there and if you want to do whatever you like to it. Also, don't try decorating it because you'll have to move everything to my room because I decorated it to fit your style. As I was thinking about what she said, she changed the subject. When do we go register our marriage? Maybe tomorrow. I responded. Wow, I never thought you would like me this much. You were definitely waiting for this day. If nothing too terrible happens, let's go enjoy our honeymoon. Let's go on our trip before Wendy comes back to cry. I thought, maybe the honeymoon can wait and that we should finish the project. The next morning, we woke up early and went to register for our marriage. As if it was a useless process, we split and went our own ways to work. After a morning meeting, I received a call from my dad. He was so pissed when he heard about the switch-up in the wedding. He told me that he expected more from me and to wait for Wendy to come back. I said nothing and turned off my phone and focused on work. During my lunch, I called Chloe. After a meeting, her friend, Serena, brought 2 lunches into her office. Chloe, you're getting married, don't you think your husband will be mad? Serena felt that Chloe used to be so drowned in bars because I was getting married to Wendy. Serena even suggested that Chloe follow her heart. Chloe only said yes when I called and was like, watch out for me because I'm going to get married. Serena then patted Chloe on the shoulder. Congrats on getting a little love. Make sure you do all you can before Wendy knows. Chloe was using her phone and thinking whether or not she should call me back when she said, my husband is super understanding and you wouldn't understand. Serena was not feeling it and said, congrats, but don't just say husband. Make sure you can be trusted so that he won't leave you for Wendy. Before Serena was done talking, her eyes widened when she saw a red book in her hands. What? Is that true? She went to Chloe and said, for real? Give it to me because I have never seen a wedding certificate. Chloe said, it's not like a dog can see this, you know. After she was done, she locked the certificate into her drawer. So that others can't take it when I am not in. The next morning, Serena woke up with a terrible morning when she woke up. After she dressed, Wendy took out her phone, thinking that she could get through. Serena called our friends and she started yelling at them, not being able to take the fact that I rejected her. I took the car to Chloe's office in the afternoon. My dad called me while on the way. After my mother died, he has been my closest relative, if he makes things difficult. Just be patient with him, okay? Chloe drawled, propping her long, stocking-clad legs up on my side of the seat, affecting a wifey pout. Honey, we're legally married now. Your grandpa is my grandpa. There's no such thing as being patient or not. I was touched, and couldn't help but give her a sideways glance. Maybe it was work fatigue, but Chloe had fallen asleep not long after we got in the car. I deliberately slowed down so she could rest comfortably. It wasn't until we were pulling into the driveway of my family home that I gently woke her up. We're here. Seeing the slight anxiety on her face, I gave her a reassuring smile as I got out of the car. I took Chloe's hand and walked inside, feeling her clammy palm in mine. We're legally married, don't worry. Chloe swallowed and patted her chest. There was a photo of our marriage certificate there. Even though she had locked the actual certificate in her office, she carried a picture with her at all times, her red lips repeating "legally married" like a mantra. Then, she followed me into the Black family home. The living room was packed, my dad, my grandfather, and even Wendy's grandmother, Mrs. Williams. I was a little surprised, but I still went ahead and greeted everyone. Chloe politely followed suit. All eyes were on our intertwined hands, and expressions changed accordingly. I let go of her hand and walked over to Mrs. Williams. "I'm sorry for not letting you know sooner, Mrs. Williams." Mrs. Williams' eyes were filled with both pity and regret. She took my hand and said, half with apology, half with heartache, "The Williams family is the one who failed you, Ethan. You don't need to apologize, it's our fault. I just want you to be happy. I know about what happened yesterday, and it was all Wendy's fault. I apologize for her." Mrs. Williams sighed. "Ethan, I'm not defending Wendy. I just didn't teach her well enough, and it caused you so much pain. I'm sorry." After seeing Mrs. Williams off, Chloe and I followed my grandfather up to his study. Despite his age, my grandfather was still very robust, radiating an imposing presence as he stood there. He looked at Chloe, and calmly nodded. "You look a lot like Chloe's grandfather." Mr. Summer was her grandfather's name, and he had passed away when Chloe was in 8th grade. My grandfather and Mr. Summer had been rivals in their youth, but they also respected each other. It was a pity that Mr. Summer had passed away so early, otherwise, the one marrying me definitely wouldn't have been Wendy. My grandfather continued, "I don't care what happened with the Summer family in the past. What's done is done. Now that Ethan has married you, I hope the two of you can live a good life together." Chloe obediently nodded. "Don't worry, Grandpa. I've already made a will. All of my assets belong to Ethan." I was stunned, and my grandfather waved his hand, "That's not necessary." Chloe looked at me, her eyes brimming with affection. "Honey, Ethan is the person I love most. I'll do my best to treat him well." My grandfather nodded, then asked me some questions about the company. Finally, he took a call, and we took our leave, holding hands. Chloe went to the restroom, and I sat down in the living room to wait. My dad was sitting in the living room watching the news, so I sat across from him and dryly said, "Dad." My dad hummed an acknowledgement and took the initiative to speak. "Did you hear about the car accident involving Alex?" My face remained expressionless as I nodded, "I know." My dad seemed to know about the hidden story as well. He hesitated for a few seconds, then said, "Alex's accident was pretty serious. Wendy, as his sister, going to visit him is only natural. Don't take it to heart." He continued. "Are you being serious about the marriage to Chloe?" My heart was cold. I knew my dad had given most of his paternal love to Alex. I wasn't angry, just felt a sense of emptiness. "Dad, marriage isn't a game to me. My intentions are very clear. I'm serious." My dad couldn't help but think about his own marriage. He carefully observed my aloof expression, trying to justify himself. "Ethan, your mom and I." I interrupted him, my face calm, my eyes without a ripple. "I've understood a lot since Mom passed away, Dad. Your mistakes shouldn't be borne by a woman. Mom's death had a lot to do with you. You're still my dad, but no longer the dad I respect most. When you chose to betray Mom and me, you lost that right." My dad felt powerless in my presence, and remained silent. Fortunately, not long after, my aunt came to say that dinner was ready. After dinner, it was getting late. I glanced at Chloe, who was sitting quietly in the car, and couldn't help but ask, "You seem very happy. Just because Grandpa didn't scold you?" Chloe was not known for her tact, so it was understandable that Grandpa wouldn't like her. Chloe giggled, the corners of her mouth curving up. "I only share this with my dear husband." I was a little surprised. "Aren't I your legally married husband?" Chloe nonchalantly said, missing a kiss. I was speechless. "Chloe, I'm driving. You staring at me like that makes it hard to focus." Chloe blushed and said, "Fine, I'll make it up to you when we get home." She hadn't finished speaking when I suddenly slammed on the brakes. Looking up, I saw a woman standing in front of the headlights. My heart skipped a beat. I glanced at Chloe. Chloe tilted her head and calmly said, "If you want to go, go ahead." I pinched her cheek, my voice gentle. "I'm going to talk to her and get things cleared up. I'll be right back, okay?" Her reply was a soft hum. I opened the door and stepped out. Wendy hurried over, grabbing my arm, her eyes red and puffy. "Ethan, I don't agree with the breakup." The night wind carried a chill. I silently looked at her, not feeling even a hint of anger. After only 2 days, Wendy, who was usually so beautiful and radiant, looked a little haggard. Wendy sighed. "Ethan, don't take your anger out on an innocent person because of me." I frowned and shook Wendy's hand off. "Wendy, I'm not the kind of person who has his cake and eats it too. When you chose to go find Alex, we were done. You could have told me, you could have informed the guests, and temporarily cancelled the wedding, but you didn't. You abandoned the Black family, abandoned my reputation, and let me be humiliated." Wendy was slightly startled. She quickly explained, "Alex is your brother, and he had a car accident." I almost laughed. "Wendy, don't forget, Alex's friends and classmates were all there. It didn't necessarily have to be you who went. Are you a doctor? What capacity were you going in, ex-girlfriend or sister-in-law?" Seeing the dazed look on Wendy's face, I felt a little smug. "You're not exactly unaware of how Alex became my brother. I don't hate him, but I absolutely cannot accept someone who contributed to my mother's death." Wendy softly whispered something about it being all his fault. I froze and then burst out laughing, but the laughter carried no warmth. "So that's what you've always thought. You're like my dad, not the same kind of person as me. We were destined not to be together." I firmly believed that my mother's death had something to do with them. "Since you chose to be with me, you should have respected me, not been entangled with him at such a crucial moment." "Wendy, I'm not indispensable." The words indispensable felt like a thunderbolt. Wendy's heart felt like a hole had been punched through it, the wind whistling through, causing her a sharp pain. Her lips trembled. "Ethan, you've misunderstood. This is my fault, I coldly looked at her, as if seeing through her soul. "Wendy, you've always had smooth sailing since you were young, you don't know how to refuse people. You're too easily swayed. To put it bluntly, you're a central air conditioner. I don't need a central air conditioner like you." Wendy's tears streamed down her face. "Ethan, I love you. It was wrong of me, I shouldn't have left without saying a word. Now I'll go with you, we'll go back and get married." I coldly looked at her, as if seeing through the depths of her heart. "Wendy, you'll never understand how much pain you've caused me. I can allow Wendy to be with Alex, but I can never accept Wendy who is about to marry me, and can't let go of Alex. How can one heart hold 2 people? It's disgusting." Chloe's voice rang out from behind me, "Since you gave up Ethan first, you have to accept that he doesn't want to wait for you." She quickly stepped to my side, boldly taking my arm and provocatively looking at Wendy. Wendy stared at Chloe, her eyebrows furrowed. "Chloe, you're picking up scraps. And you dare blame me?" Chloe's eyes flashed coldly. "Talking about picking up scraps? This opportunity was created by you. Should I thank you?" Chloe's eyes flashed with mockery. The atmosphere suddenly tensed. I felt a headache coming on. I grabbed Chloe's hand, interlacing our fingers, and lowered my head to say to her, "Let's go home early, I'm a little tired." Chloe slightly tilted her head, a mocking smile on her face as she looked at Wendy. After putting me in the passenger seat, Chloe, as the victor, held her head high and walked past Wendy. Wendy panicked. She ran to the passenger side window, frowning and whispering, "Ethan, think carefully. If you go with her, this is truly the end for us." My face was expressionless as I closed the car window. Heading home, Wendy couldn't imagine that just because of this time, she would be losing her man forever. We drove our separate ways. Me and Chloe understood not to mention about Wendy. I'd been living alone for a long time. Before, life was difficult, and I learned how to cook. Afterwards, I found the process of cooking very relaxing, so I always cooked myself. When Chloe woke up, I had already gone for a run and cooked breakfast. Looking at the breakfast on the table, Chloe, who didn't usually eat breakfast, sat down with me and slowly savored it. There were 2 times when Chloe woke up late and saw the empty table. She thought there was no portion for her and was a little disappointed. Unexpectedly, when she got in the car, I gave her a small insulated box. She blinked her big, round eyes in confusion. "What is this?" I explained, "Breakfast." The corners of Chloe's mouth curved into a smile, though faint, it was very gentle. "Honey made it for me?" Chloe smiled smugly and confidently. I deliberately teased her, "Didn't you eat the breakfast earlier?" Chloe was a little speechless, but having breakfast made her feel better. When she saw the assistant, Lucy, eating steamed buns, she frowned. Lucy raised the steamed bun in her hand and asked, "Director Chloe, have you had breakfast?" Chloe smiled and raised the insulated box. "No need, my husband made a love breakfast for me." Hearing this, Lucy hurriedly fawned, "Director Chloe, you're so impressive. You managed to capture Mr. Black after only a few days of marriage." After she finished her breakfast, she followed Chloe into the office and saw Chloe laying out the breakfast. Lucy was drooling with jealousy. She suddenly felt that the steamed bun she had just swallowed was all trash. She casually sent a photo to Serena, who immediately called to ask, "Honey, can I taste your husband's cooking?" Chloe laughed. "If you want to eat, go find your own husband." Serena was speechless. "It's great to have a husband, huh? Just a few days ago, you were just like me, a single dog." Chloe happily said, "It's definitely great to have a husband." That night, after we returned from the Black family home, my grandfather gave me 15% of the company shares, 10% to Chloe, and 5% to Alex. In the past few days, I had finished arranging the share transfer documents and gave Chloe her share. Chloe didn't accept it and gave it back to me. I was a little surprised. "Grandpa gave it to you, why don't you accept it?" Chloe leaned back on the sofa, looking lazy, and smiled. "I'm your wife. Didn't you already say that? What's mine is yours. Here, take it all." I awkwardly explained, I was joking that day. Chloe's smile faded. "I'm serious. Now that we're married, I'm not thinking about divorce. Not to mention these shares, even my company, I don't mind giving it to you." I bitterly smiled and looked at her. "Chloe, have you ever regretted being with me? Saying I'm boring and not romantic?" Chloe softly laughed. "It's okay, I understand. It's not just understand, I can also teach you." I didn't say anything and returned the shares to Chloe. As I left the company, preparing to get in the car, I happened to run into Alex waiting for me in the parking lot. He sat in a wheelchair, his face a little pale, but he still managed a forced smile. I frowned slightly, looking at him a few times. Didn't Alex have a car accident? Isn't Alex supposed to be in the hospital? Why did you come back here? Alex smiled. Hearing that you and Wendy broke up, I was afraid you'd misunderstand, so I especially came back to explain to you. The word breakup was used so delicately, making me seem extremely inconsiderate. I chuckled, leaning against the car door, and nonchalantly said, "I'll give you 5 minutes." Alex froze. He was just saying it casually, not expecting me to actually be willing to listen to him. Wendy and I did have a period of ambiguity before. After that, we had a conflict, and she only confessed to you, treating you as a substitute for me. I shouldn't have gotten entangled with her, but this accident was so unexpected, and I couldn't find anyone at the time, so I apologize to you. I didn't know that she was about to marry you at the time. I coldly watched him act, asking back, "Are you telling me that Wendy treated me as a substitute? Did she know about this?" Hearing this, Alex stiffened, quickly changing the subject. "I didn't know that things would turn out this way." Can you forgive Wendy? Seeing her in pain makes me very sad. I raised my eyebrows, my voice cold. Alex, you and I aren't that close. I don't care about your and Wendy's business. You want me to forgive Wendy, what right do you have to ask me? Son of a mistress? Alex's face turned pale. He probably didn't expect me to be so blunt. He lowered his head, gritting his teeth and saying, I know I can't soothe your anger. What do you want me to do? I raised my eyebrows, my voice cold. Even die? At this moment, Wendy's voice rang out from behind. Ethan. I rubbed my aching temples, looking up just in time to see a faint smile on Alex's face. I felt a little helpless. After so many years, they were still putting on this melodramatic act. Wendy hurriedly ran over, seeing Alex was also here, and a look of annoyance flashed across her eyes. Wendy didn't look at him, turning to me with pleading eyes, her voice a little hesitant. Ethan, can I invite you to dinner? That night, she was scolded by her grandmother and mother, and understood the severity of the matter. I chuckled, turning around and opening the car door, then closing it again, my movements decisive, never looking at her once. Wendy frowned, wanting to chase after me, but was stopped by Alex. Ethan has made up his mind not to turn back, you should give up. Wendy didn't turn around, remaining silent for a few seconds, then said, when I had the accident, she chose to go see you not because she still cared about you, but because she wanted to clear things up with you. But I didn't expect you to plot against me, putting drugs in my drink. Alex hurriedly explained, I really didn't know that you were about to marry him. Wendy coldly laughed, turning her head around. How come when I asked the assistant to send Ethan a message, you stopped her? Alex was speechless, his face showing a look of pain. Wendy gnashed her teeth. Ethan was right. Because of my hesitation, I gave you an opportunity to take advantage. You said that Ethan was cold and bullied me, but is that the truth? I didn't interfere in your family matters, but you shouldn't have plotted against Ethan. He is your brother and would have been Wendy's husband. Wendy shook her head, a look of helplessness and regret in her deep eyes. Seeing us come to this point, are you satisfied? Alex clenched the armrest of the wheelchair, raising his head to look at the sky, but remained silent. On the 4th day after the wedding, Chloe had to go on a business trip. I helped her pack her luggage. Although we didn't sleep in the same room, the decor of the 2 bedrooms was almost the same. Maybe because we've been friends since we were kids. It's still a little weird to be married all of a sudden. I'll probably get used to sleeping in the same bed if we spend a little more time together. When I knocked on the door, Chloe had just finished showering. She was only wrapped in a towel when she opened the door. My eyes darted around, unable to stop myself from looking down. Chloe leaned against the door, smiling as she asked, "What's wrong?" My face flushed red as I blurted out, "Hungry?" Chloe followed my gaze and lowered her voice to ask, "You mean that kind of hungry?" I was so embarrassed that I wanted to burrow into the ground. I quickly turned around and stammered, "I came to ask if you were hungry." Chloe deliberately teased me, "I'm hungry because you came." I glared at her and said, "Behave yourself. What do you want to eat?" Chloe stood up straight, her eyes sparkling with a smile. "Can I eat you?" I choked on her words, my face burning red. I turned around to leave. "Eat my ass." Chloe's laughter rang out from behind, each peal hitting my heart and making my face burn even more. I quickly ran into the kitchen. Chloe finished packing and walked into the kitchen, just as I was carrying out a bowl of tomato and egg noodles. The golden eggs glistened on top of the white noodles, sprinkled with a few sprigs of scallions. Chloe's mouth watered as she picked up her chopsticks and started eating. She remembered back in 12th grade, after she ran away from home, I brought her back and cooked this dish for her. After I left, she ate noodles at many restaurants, but none of them could replicate my flavor. Chloe tightened her grip on the chopsticks and quickly finished the bowl of noodles. Chloe left in the middle of the night. The next morning, when I woke up, I saw a note Chloe had left on the table downstairs. The handwriting was as beautiful as it was back in high school. On a business trip for a week. don't miss me. If you can't help it, call me. 24/7 online, chatting and eating with you. After I had breakfast, I quickly packed my things and went to the company. After work, I received a call from Alex asking me to go out for dinner. When I got to the restaurant, I sat down opposite him and smiled, teasing, "You asked me out to dinner, but you look so sad." Alex hesitated for a moment and took out a photo. He carefully said, "Ethan, don't get angry after you see this." I glanced at it. It was an intimate photo of Wendy and Alex. In the photo, Alex seemed to have fallen, and Wendy was helping him back into his wheelchair. Alex used to be a singer with some fame in the entertainment industry, and he also had a lot of fans. When this kind of photo came out, reporters would naturally think about the two of them finally making their relationship public. I smiled and returned the photo, my tone indifferent. Why would I be angry? I'm married. Alex smiled in relief. Ethan, how does Chloe treat you? You two were always arguing back in school. Actually, Chloe is a great person. If she hadn't suddenly. Mentioning Wendy made Alex furious. I smiled. Okay, don't be angry anymore. Let's eat first. After dinner, I noticed Alex looking into the distance. I followed his gaze. There was a familiar car on the side of the road. Alex was sitting in a wheelchair on the side of the road, seeming to be talking to someone in the car. Alex frowned, the disgust in his eyes unconcealed. Isn't Alex supposed to be in the hospital? Why is he running around in a wheelchair like this? Or is he faking it? Seeing Alex rolling up his sleeves, ready to go and fight, I quickly stopped him. Let's go. Whether he's faking it or not isn't something we should care about. My words were loaded with meaning. Although the streetlights were dim, I could still clearly see who was in the car from 8 meters away. Alex coldly laughed. That's right, someone already cares. Our voices were a little loud. The person in the car heard the noise, looked up, and saw me, smiling. Wendy's hand trembled, and she quickly pushed the car door open and walked towards me. Ethan. Wendy called out to me. I didn't turn around, but Wendy didn't give up. She crossed the street, panting as she ran in front of me. Ethan. Alex anxiously looked at me. I smiled at him, telling him to relax. Ethan, listen to my explanation. After speaking, Wendy looked at me with pleading eyes. I looked past her at Alex, who was sitting across the street with a resentful look, and casually smiled. No need. My attitude was so indifferent that Wendy froze. Only 2 days had passed, and Wendy, who was always so proud, had become so haggard. It seemed that there was a chasm separating us. Ethan. Wendy's lips trembled, seeming to want to say something. Just then, my phone rang. It was a voice message from Chloe. I originally intended to convert it to text, but my hand trembled and I accidentally pressed play. I've landed for 17 hours. Not even a word of inquiry. Use and then discard, huh? Her complaining voice rang in my ears. My face turned red. What she was saying would cause people to misunderstand. Alex looked at me with a mischievous look. Wendy's expression changed drastically, and she incredulously asked, Ethan, are you and Chloe? My face didn't change as I replied, we're legally married. The unspoken meaning was that even if something happened, it was all natural. Wendy felt extremely bitter, pained, and regretful, unable to conceal it in her eyes. She was about to say something when Chloe called. I glanced at Alex and walked away a little to answer. Even though I had married Chloe, the first few days after the wedding, we were both very happy. Most of the time, we did our own things. Receiving her call after the wedding surprised me a little. Chloe's indifferent voice came through. Ethan, did you forget about your wife because you have someone new? My heart pounded, my face flushed red as I whispered, what are you talking about? Chloe was silent for 2 seconds, then suddenly said something that made me freeze. Were you tired last night? Suddenly, I heard Alex giggling behind me. I felt very embarrassed. I vowed that I would never answer Chloe's calls in front of my friends again. This girl really didn't know how to hold her tongue. I didn't do anything last night, I just cooked noodles for you, okay? Her words made it sound like we had done something very scandalous last night. I patiently explained, I only cooked noodles for you last night. Don't talk nonsense. Aren't you on a business trip? Chloe gave a soft hum, and was about to speak when I heard Wendy's voice call out, Ethan, from the other end of the line. Chloe's eyes flashed. It's so late, and you're still out alone? I glanced at Alex. Alex and I just finished eating. Chloe softly laughed. That Lucy is hopeless. It's so late, and she can't even manage her own husband. I thought to myself, how would she know if she's capable or not? As if Chloe could hear my thoughts, she whispered, I don't know if she's capable or not, but I have to let you try to see if I'm capable or not. My face turned red, my tongue trembling, unsure of what to say. Chloe sensed my panic and laughed. I'm just teasing you, I'm hanging up now. I have a meeting later, go home early. I gave a soft hum and hung up. Wendy hurriedly ran in front of me, her face pained. Ethan, don't you like her already? What was our 2 years together considered? I was stunned, seemingly not expecting Wendy to change her attitude so quickly. I slightly frowned at her, my voice a little stern. When you chose to abandon me and humiliate me, did you think about what our 2 years together were considered? Wendy's face turned pale, her voice low, her whole person looking tired. Ethan, I'm sorry. I didn't know things would turn out this way. I put my phone away and looked at Alex, who was tightly pursing his lips. I curved my lips into a smile full of meaning. Wendy, you don't love me that much. If you did, you wouldn't have hesitated between Alex and me. My face was expressionless, my voice soft, but it gave people a sense of determination. To be honest, when Grandpa wanted me to marry you, I didn't refuse. At that time, I felt you weren't bad, but now it seems that you really aren't worth a strand of Chloe's hair. Please stay away from me, seeing you makes me feel disgusted. Wendy pursed her lips and remained silent, her heart feeling like someone had used a knife to cut a large hole, blood constantly flowing out, her entire heart empty. Ethan, is there really no chance for us anymore? Not even one chance? Her voice was low, not even daring to look up, afraid of seeing the emotion in my eyes, afraid of pushing herself into despair once again. Wendy, who was always proud, had never shown weakness in front of any man. A look of mockery appeared in my eyes. Wendy, now you make me look down on you. When you received Alex's call, you had already decided to give up. At that time, we were done. Now I have a wife, and I don't want her to misunderstand. Please stay away from me. At this moment, Alex's helpless voice rang out. Perhaps because he was worried that Wendy would follow me, he tried to push his wheelchair closer in his eagerness, but accidentally hit a rock, causing the wheelchair to overturn and fall into the middle of the road. Wendy also looked over, not missing the pity in Wendy's eyes. I smiled. The person's over there, so go carry them over to Wendy's car, I guess? I responded. I wanted you to be able to carry the person to that Wendy, but it seems that your heart won't allow it. She took out her phone to call, so I stopped her. I guess you have to carry it yourself. I went over to my vehicle, and drove off as Wendy was giving me the death stare. Alex said that the person's head was starting to bleed, but it was not anything big. Alex went inside and asked, "Where are you going?" I just wanted to go out because I felt that Wendy did not let me say what I wanted to say. Wendy then screamed and asked me about what I wanted to do to her. I then told Alex that Wendy was not in her place. She is a bad person. Back at home, Chloe wasn't there. So I had nothing to do at home. She had texted me to be alone, so I did not bother her. I went to sleep and decided that I would let her go if I had to. Now, I'm negotiating with you as a father. If you don't agree, tomorrow, in front of the shareholders, I won't be so nice anymore. My dad's meaning was clear. Either I gave him the shares tonight, or I gave them to him tomorrow in front of everyone. The next morning, when I arrived at the company, Assistant Lu hurriedly handed me the necessary documents for the meeting. She wanted to say something but hesitated, her eyes filled with unease. I glanced at the documents and noticed her worried expression, so I asked, "Is there anything else?" Assistant Lu anxiously said, "President Jiang, when I arrived this morning, I saw Manager Jiang in a meeting with several other managers. It seemed like they were discussing something related to you." I raised my eyebrows and chuckled, closing the documents and standing up quickly. "Stop the general's moves, I'm not afraid." Walking into the meeting room, those old fogies immediately quieted down. The atmosphere suddenly became silent. I asked the assistant to report on the work. After the report was finished, I asked, "Does anyone have any objections?" My dad spoke first. "President Jiang, wasn't it previously said that the land in the Eastern District would be developed in cooperation with Hailin? Why was it suddenly given to Chloe Summers?" Everyone present knew about the relationship between Chloe and me. I coldly looked at my dad, the first to cause trouble. "Didn't Manager Jiang know? Hailin has had some scandals recently. A big project like the Eastern District isn't suitable for Hailin. Giving it to Tsinghua doesn't seem suitable either, but Chloe Tsinghua offered us a discount of 8%. My words shut everyone up. Moreover, this cooperation was obtained by Tsinghua through fair bidding. I coldly looked at everyone. If no one has any other objections, then today's meeting is adjourned here. After speaking, I turned to leave, but my dad suddenly stood up. He clearly understood the consequences of standing up, but he didn't want Alex to suffer. My dad stared at my back and coldly said, "President Jiang, you're too young and act too decisively. You need more training. I and the shareholders all agree that you should give out some of your shares, so a balanced situation can be achieved." My fingers tightened at my sides, my eye sockets stinging. We were both sons, yet my dad could pressure me to give out my shares in front of everyone for Alex's sake. Why should my efforts be so easily divided among others? I was silent for a few seconds. When I turned around, there was no more emotion in my eyes. I coldly asked, "Is Manager Jiang questioning my decision?" My dad frowned. He didn't expect me to be so stubborn. His heart ached a little, but thinking about Alex sitting in a wheelchair, the scales in his heart tilted towards Alex. President Jiang is too young. Some things are decided a little too hastily. This isn't good for the company. I can understand President Jiang's feelings. After all, young people are energetic, which is normal, but President Jiang must remember that we've all entrusted our fortunes to you. If you make a wrong decision, everyone's efforts will go down the drain. I suppressed my anger and said in a low voice, "We're all grasshoppers on the same rope. If I eat, you'll definitely have your share. Manager Jiang wants my shares. You dislike my way of doing things. Could it be that you prefer Alex's hesitant style?" Hearing this, my dad's face immediately changed. I chuckled and continued, "Manager Jiang, don't be too arrogant. You forced someone who doesn't understand anything into the company. This is the biggest mistake. My dad wanted Alex in the company, so I would take advantage of this point to make him take the fall. Seeing that he couldn't force me, my dad had to grit his teeth and follow behind me. Ethan, Alex is your brother. Helping him is something you should do. I didn't stop walking and coldly replied, "My mother only gave birth to me." I thought I had made it clear at the Jiang family home twice already. I didn't think that the father I once respected most could go this far for the son of a mistress. It was a lie to say I wasn't heartbroken. My dad followed me into the office. Seeing me turn on the computer to work, he anxiously and angrily went to turn off my computer, saying with a look of disappointment and helplessness, "He's your brother and also my son." I raised my head, my eye sockets red, making my dad freeze. I asked with red eyes, "Then what about me? I'm also your biological son. Am I not the child you picked up from the side of the road?" My dad was speechless. He looked at me with a flustered expression, his eyes showing helplessness. He plopped down onto the sofa, bowing his head and explaining, "Ethan, I'm sorry. Alex's mother. I seem to hear the biggest joke. What nonsense is Manager Jiang talking about? Did you treat my mother well? I angrily grabbed the glass of water beside me and threw it at my dad's feet. The cold water wet his clothes. Assistant Liu, who was outside, saw that the situation wasn't good, and her heart trembled. She hurriedly called Chloe's assistant. Speaking of the relationship between the two of them, it was all for their boss. For example, what did I eat yesterday? Was it delicious? Who did I meet? She had to select the important points and send them to Chloe's assistant, Lucy. Then, Lucy would pass it on to Chloe. Of course, I treated her well, and she didn't find it annoying. This wasn't the first time my dad had been humiliated by me. He suddenly stood up, his muddy eyes suddenly becoming bright. He said to me, "These shares, you're giving them whether you like it or not. This is the only thing I can give Alex. Ethan, I owe you. I'll find a way to pay you back." After speaking, my dad hurriedly left, as if there was a flood chasing after him. I, as if all my strength had been drained, plopped down in the chair. I closed my eyes, tears uncontrollably falling. For the last time, I silently told myself, this is the last time I'll tolerate him. The assistant waited for my mood to stabilize before daring to bring in fresh coffee, taking the opportunity to clean up the office. Lucy walked in with lunch. Seeing Serena pulling Chloe aside to discuss what to eat tonight, she softly coughed. "Director Chloe." Chloe turned around, raising her eyebrows at Assistant Liu. Liu hesitantly said, "President Jiang, there was a little accident over there." Before Chloe could react, Serena jumped up. "What? Who dares to bully my brother-in-law?" Chloe glared at her, covering Serena's mouth and looking at Lucy, signaling her to continue. Lucy said, "It's like this. Last night, President Jiang went to the Jiang family home. It seems like there was a little conflict. Today, Manager Jiang has joined with several shareholders to pressure President Jiang to give up his shares. His father and President Jiang had a fight." Hearing this, Chloe revealed a solemn and unhappy expression, frowning as she thought for a few seconds. She coldly said, "Book me the earliest plane ticket." Lucy hesitated for 2 seconds. "But there's an important meeting tomorrow." Chloe said in a tone that brooked no argument, "Never mind, book me a plane ticket back for tomorrow as well." After speaking, she quickly left. At this time, I didn't know Chloe was on her way back. I didn't want her to know about these troublesome things. It was just that my dad kept forcing me. After being busy all day, my head was spinning. I hadn't even had dinner yet. When it was time to get off work, I went to the parking lot and sat for a while, looking at the empty parking lot. My heart was also empty. If Grandpa wasn't still there, I wouldn't ever step foot in the Jiang family home again. This father of mine was so cruel, actually pushing me to this point. He was pressuring me step by step for Alex's sake. Didn't this prove that he cheated? If it wasn't for Grandpa's sake, I would have definitely called a bunch of reporters to question him and see if he was ashamed. Just then, Wendy's voice rang out from the distance. I wearily glanced at her. Seeing her walking over, I quickly stood up, intending to go into the car, but unexpectedly, I had been sitting for too long. When I stood up, I suddenly felt dizzy, my legs going limp. I almost fell to the ground. "Ethan!" Wendy anxiously ran towards me. I leaned against the wall and stood up, yelling, "Don't come near." Wendy stopped in place 3 or 4 steps away from me. "Ethan, I have no ill intentions. Let me take you home." Wendy looked at my struggling appearance, her heart aching. I leaned against the wall, panting, not paying attention to Wendy. After calming down for a few seconds, I gritted my teeth and walked towards my car. Wendy chased after me, unwilling, her weak voice ringing out from behind. "Ethan, why does Chloe let you suffer alone like this? Let me take you to the hospital to see what's wrong, okay?" The last sentence carried a plea that was extremely humble. I stopped, making Wendy secretly happy, thinking that I had changed my mind. She gently called out, "Ethan." I turned around, my eyes not having the softness that Wendy had hoped for, but a deep abyss. I coldly smiled and asked, Wendy, don't you understand human language? I don't want to see you. The smile on Wendy's face quickly disappeared. She took 2 steps back in disbelief, her eyes gradually showing pain. She quickly reddened her eyes and bit her lip, asking, Ethan, I really know my mistakes. What do you want me to do to forgive me? As long as you say it, I'll do it. My eyes were extremely disgusted, stopping Wendy's footsteps to chase after me. Wendy's eyes were filled with tears. Her voice low, she asked, Ethan, how many years have we known each other? Do you really want to be so heartless? I faintly smiled, imitating Chloe's expression, asking, Wendy, do you know why I agreed to your confession? If it wasn't for Grandpa's idea, I wouldn't have chosen you. Just based on the fact that you and Alex were ambiguous, I already removed you from the list. Wendy's face changed. She seemed to remember something and then looked at me with a complicated expression. Ethan, you've never liked me? I softly chuckled. I used to, but when you were ambiguous with Alex, I stopped liking you. I'm very persistent. Once I've decided to do something, I won't give up until I've achieved my goal. Back then, giving up everything to be with you was true. Now, not wanting to see you is also true. If you don't want me to look at you with disgust for the rest of my life, then don't appear in front of me again. This is the only respect I can give you. In my past life, Wendy didn't directly cause my death, but she couldn't be separated from it. I couldn't convince myself to forgive her. Wendy reddened her eyes, as if her internal organs had been dug out. She suddenly bent over, covering her face and sobbing. I didn't look at her and turned to walk towards my car, leaving the parking lot without looking back. Wendy stood still, clenching her fists, her nails digging deep into her flesh, blood dripping onto the ground. Wendy looked at my leaving back with red eyes, a sickly smile on her face. Ethan, don't even think about leaving me. You can only belong to me. When I drove home, it was already dark. I was so tired that I only wanted to sleep. As soon as I sat down on the sofa, I heard a voice. Honey, why are you so late? Seeing Chloe suddenly appear, I was a little surprised. She walked closer to me. I smelled the faint fragrance on her body. I raised my head to look at her. The lights in the living room weren't turned on. Only the lights from outside were shining in. I couldn't see her expression clearly, but I could feel her anger. I whispered, why did you come back? Didn't you say your business trip was for a while longer? Chloe reached out and touched my face, whispering, I was afraid someone would bully you, so I came back to see. Listening closely, I could still hear the concern in her voice. Chloe didn't say anything else, sitting down beside me in silence, reaching out and hugging me. My mood, which was originally annoyed by my dad and Wendy, gradually disappeared in Chloe's arms. I looked at her and smiled. You probably haven't had dinner yet, right? What do you want to eat tonight? My smile made Chloe crumble. It had only been a few days since I had been away, but it was as if it had been years. That feeling of finally finding something again, but being afraid of losing it, was really too uncomfortable. Chloe swallowed, her eyes deep, suddenly asking, Can I eat you? I froze, only feeling my face burning. I was extremely grateful that Chloe couldn't see my flustered expression at this moment. Not hearing me answer, Chloe's expression became darker and darker, her lips pursed tightly, her eyes seemingly carrying a hint of sadness. I suddenly murmured, Are you even human? All you ever think about is eating, only thinking about eating people. Although I said it softly, since the two of us were standing close, she still heard it. Chloe was silent for a few seconds, then suddenly laughed. Her laughter was extremely pleasant to hear. She happily touched my face, whispering, Okay, I'll listen to my honey and not eat people anymore. Now, let's go out for dinner, okay? I'm dead tired from flying for several hours. Her voice rarely carried a hint of coquettishness. I was amused by her, patting her hand and standing up to change my shoes, going out the door. Chloe tightly held my hand, and as we went out the gate, it was a little cold. She shrank her neck, and then a jacket was draped over her body. Chloe turned her head, her eyes carrying a look of bewilderment and doubt. You gave me your jacket, aren't you cold? Her eyes were very clear, making me feel a heat. I smiled. You're a girl, physically weaker. After speaking, my eyes fell to her legs, raising my eyebrows. In the future, if you wear a skirt when it's cold, I'll break your legs. Chloe looked at me, sticking out her tongue. Afterwards, she took my arm, passing her warmth to me. After the two had dinner, I ran water into the bathtub, letting Chloe soak in it to relax. Suddenly, I noticed that Chloe didn't bring her luggage back. This meant that she still had to leave later. So what was her purpose in coming back tonight? I was thinking aimlessly, not paying attention to the fact that Chloe had quietly come up behind me. Seeing my eyes gradually becoming empty, the corners of her mouth slightly curved. Seeing that the bathtub was about to overflow, Chloe reminded, "Honey, are you planning to drown me?" I snapped back to reality. Seeing that the water was full, I hurriedly stood up to turn off the water, my hands and feet flustered. Water from the shower head splattered onto Chloe's clothes. She was wearing a white shirt, which was now wet from the water, vaguely revealing the curves of her body. Chloe looked at me with a dazed expression. My eyes fell to her chest, raising my eyebrows and smiling mischievously. "Honey, are you planning to take a mandarin duck bath with me?" My face turned red. I hurriedly covered my eyes. "Honey, don't be shy." Chloe softly laughed, her voice sweet and deadly. Chloe removed my hand, moving closer. Our breaths mingled together. She could see the tense expression on my face. Chloe didn't want to force me. She was willing to wait, waiting until the day I was ready. Chloe laughed, looking at me and asking, "Aren't you coming out yet? Are you really planning to take a mandarin duck bath with me?" My face turned red. I flusteredly ran back to my room, the sound of Chloe's laughter still ringing in my head. I hadn't seen her for a few days, so why did I suddenly find Chloe so good at teasing people? I pinched my cheeks a few times, then took a few long breaths, finally calming down. The phone next to me suddenly rang. I picked up the phone and saw that Alex had sent a message in the group chat. "Ethan, your dad is causing trouble for you again." My face darkened. I didn't want my family's affairs to involve them. Not waiting for me to reply, Alex continued, "Ethan, we're good brothers. You must tell us if anything happens. I also heard some news today. Alex is planning to hold a concert. Is it related to this?" I thought for a moment, then told them about my dad's intentions. Alex, who had a hot temper, angrily said, "Is he not afraid of people talking about him? You're also his son." I smiled. "It's okay, I can handle it myself. I'm going to sleep first." After speaking, I wearily put down my phone, closing my eyes. I only intended to rest for a while, but unexpectedly fell asleep. In my sleep, I was awakened by a knock at the door. Awakening me, along with Chloe's worried voice. It took me a few seconds to collect myself and tell Chloe I was fine. There was no sound outside anymore, and I didn't bother to pay attention to it. I quickly got dressed, intending to open the door, but Chloe was already standing outside. She said with some worry, "I kept knocking, but you didn't answer." I said I was fine, and then asked, "You didn't bring your luggage, so you still have to leave later?" Chloe nodded, saying, "The flight is at 9 a.m. Her voice was a little hoarse, as if she was speaking right into my ear. My heart slightly trembled, and a light flickered in my eyes. I knew why Chloe suddenly came back. It would be a lie to say I wasn't touched. I could feel that Chloe was treating me very well. I lowered my head and softly said, "Chloe, you really don't need to be like this. You're treating me so well. What if you can't accept me, and you want to divorce me?" Before I could finish speaking, actually, I feel that I haven't completely fallen in love with her yet. Maybe it's because we're used to being good friends, and we rushed into marriage before we could properly date. I was afraid that I would end up hurting her feelings, so I tried to restrain myself in the face of her charm. But hearing me say this, the faint smile on Chloe's face froze. She silently walked next to me and hugged me. Ethan, we're husband and wife now. Once I'm married, I don't think about divorce. Chloe paused, looking closely at her slightly trembling fingers. She smiled. She had dreamed of this scene countless times. I blushed a little, awkwardly looking at her. How about you sleep for a while? I'll call you later. Chloe sat down on the edge of the bed, raising her eyebrows at me. Ethan, are you in such a hurry to chase me away? She waved at me, smiling. Is your dad bullying you? I knew that she had come to find me because of this. I thought for a moment and said, I can handle it myself. Chloe angrily said, how can you handle it yourself? It's a bunch of old foxes ganging up to deal with you alone. You'll be eaten until there's nothing left but bones. I felt that Chloe was looking down on me. I smugly said, I have ways to deal with those old foxes. Chloe smiled, asking, so what are you planning to do? My expression gradually became serious. After thinking for a moment, I said, they want to use shares to pressure me. First, I'll patiently wait and see what their next move is. Then, I'll improvise. Don't worry about me. I looked at her seriously, saying, you have your own work. I don't want to cause you trouble. Chloe lowered her head, saying, your matters, to me, have never been trouble. Chloe didn't like me being so polite with her. She preferred to see me arguing with her, like back in school. After talking with Chloe for a while, I firmly assured her that I would report the situation to her every day. Only then was Chloe willing to go to sleep. I set the alarm for her, and then went to the living room. When Chloe woke up, got dressed, and went downstairs, she saw that the living room lights were still on. She was a little surprised, raised her eyebrows, and walked into the kitchen. I was wearing an apron, busy in the kitchen. Inside the thermal container was an exquisite breakfast and thirst-quenching drinks. Chloe silently leaned against the door, her heart gradually filled with warmth. The world was unpredictable. The wish I made when I was in my teens actually came true. She once thought that she would never have any connection with me. After all, the social status of the two families was too different. Many years later, she had the ability to not use power to force me. Instead, she let go and made a bet. Luckily, she succeeded. I finished packing the food, turned my head around, and saw Chloe standing at the door. I awkwardly handed her the thermal container, smiling and saying, eat it in the car later. Sleep some more on the plane. Chloe stared at me, smiling softly, asking, Ethan, have you started to like me? My eyes slightly trembled, unsure of how to answer. Seeing my awkwardness, Chloe didn't make it difficult for me. She smiled, saying, thanks for your hard work, honey. Then I'll go first. I hurriedly nodded, seeing Chloe off to the door. After seeing her get into the car and leave, I closed the door and continued to sleep. But after being disturbed like this, I couldn't fall back asleep. I got up, opened my diary, and took out a photo. In the photo was our high school graduation picture. There was no sign of Chloe. In the 11th grade, something happened to the Summers family. Chloe had to shoulder the family business, which was on the verge of bankruptcy. She faced those bloodthirsty relatives alone. I only learned that after a few years of hard work, Chloe had personally put those relatives in prison. And when Chloe appeared on television again, she was no longer the girl I knew. But no matter what the past was like, I was now with her. The scene of her running towards me through the traffic in the last life was forever etched in my mind. The next day, perhaps because I had Chloe's support, I was full of energy. When I got back to the company, Assistant Lou opened the door and brought me coffee. Remembering who she met on the way upstairs, she hesitated to say, President Jiang, Manager Jiang led Mr. Alex to the company just now. My fingers tapping on the keyboard paused, and I looked up, my eyes gentle as I asked, and then? Assistant Lou was trying to gauge my mood at the moment. She said softly, I heard that Mr. Alex came to deliver tickets. I lightly nodded, continuing to work, nonchalantly saying, ignore him. Are there any meetings this afternoon? Assistant Lou shook her head. No, but you need to go to the construction site this afternoon. I gave a soft hum and took a sip of coffee. You've worked hard. Have lunch with me later. Assistant Lou smiled, closing the file. You're too polite. Then I'll go out first. In the morning, someone knocked on my office door. I was busy and didn't look up, only saying, "Come in." Alex pushed his wheelchair in. President Jiang, do you have time to talk? I looked outside. My dad was standing outside, looking at Alex with worry. I glanced at the clock, my tone serious. 5 minutes. Alex nodded, pushing his wheelchair closer. Ethan, I won't accept the shares. You don't need to feel pressured. I looked at him, smiling, leaning back in my chair. So what's your intention? You made a special trip here just to tell me that you don't want the shares? Alex, your move is well played. If you really don't want them, why don't you tell that person standing outside? I took a sip of coffee, not paying attention to Alex. I never intended to give them to you. Alex's face changed. Ethan, you don't need to be so hostile towards me. I have no intention of inheriting the company. He paused for a moment and then continued, I'm planning to withdraw from the entertainment industry after the concert, and focus on getting married. Who he was marrying, he didn't make it clear, but we all understood. Alex stared at me, not wanting to miss any emotion on my face, but I didn't give him what he wanted. I continued to work, halfway through taking a phone call. Then, I raised my head and looked at Alex, saying, Your business doesn't need to be told to me. I have no interest. I have work to do. You can leave now. My attitude wasn't good, but it wasn't too cold either. In front of Alex, I tried my best to restrain my emotions. Alex's lips slightly moved. Before opening the door to leave, he suddenly turned his head around and asked, Ethan, have you really stopped liking Wendy? Throughout this time, Alex was always following Wendy, watching her transform from a proud young lady into a weak girl, getting drunk every night. He had even seen Wendy standing downstairs at Ethan's house, crying. It would be a lie to say he wasn't jealous. He liked Wendy for many years. The ambiguity from before was also carefully arranged by him. His goal was to drive me away, but after Wendy found out, she didn't hesitate to find me. He never obtained Wendy, but he didn't regret it. Ethan had now made up his mind not to turn back. As long as he was cruel enough, he had ways to pursue Wendy. A look of mockery appeared in my eyes. There's no need to probe. My business with Wendy has ended. Exposed, Alex's face turned pale. He forced a smile, turning his head and leaving. My dad was standing outside the door. Seeing Alex coming out with a bad expression, he frowned and walked over, pushing Alex's wheelchair, whispering, Alex, did Ethan bully you? Alex shook his head lightly, saying, No, Dad. I don't want the shares anymore. Don't go looking for Ethan anymore. My dad was a little angry, resenting me in his heart. He had told me not to bully Alex, but why didn't I listen? What did Ethan say to you? Hearing this, Alex burst into tears, his eyes red, saying, Dad, I want to see Wendy. My dad said with a serious face, Alex, it's not appropriate for you to see her like this now. In other words, Wendy didn't want to see him. Alex also knew that these days, he only dared to secretly follow Wendy. But my dad felt guilty towards him. As Alex was sad, my dad softened. Okay, Dad will take you to see her. Over on Chloe's side, she returned to the hotel after finishing the meeting. Seeing her walk in, Serena kicked her legs, chair and all, and bumped into Chloe while staring at her tiredly. After Serena was done getting nosy with Chloe, she teased, It seems that you were in a fierce battle last night, huh? Just as she finished speaking, she received a glare from Chloe. Serena was not afraid of death as she went closer to Chloe and whispered, Chloe, we have been best friends for 15 years and this is the first time I have seen you worry about a man like this. Have you really fallen for Ethan? Chloe felt like she was talking nonsense and asked back, Do I look like someone who is going to fall? Serena was silent. Amongst all of them, only Chloe was the purest. Even the kind Wendy had a few boyfriends, but Chloe was already over 20 years old but still single. I am just curious. Last night, you rushed back. Was Ethan touched? Hearing this, Chloe had a bit of sadness. Touched my butt. I didn't even get a kiss. Thinking about this, Chloe looked at Lucy and asked, "Did my honey cause any trouble today?" Lucy said the words that she wanted to hear. He did, but Alex left the office with a bad face, so it seems that he was abused. Being able to work with Chloe was a great help, and Lucy was also lucky and proud. I'm here to inform everyone that because of the scandal, the concert has been delayed. Lucy did not care about anything and said whatever was on her mind. You know what? This thing is so weird. Why did Wendy say that she was with Alex in the car but he was at Ethan's house? What the heck is that mess? How would I know? You know that everyone in the office only listens to Ethan, but for some reason, they went and took Alex's side. They're so weird. Luckily, I did not agree with what they said. If not, it would just be a huge mess. Anyways, let me tell you, I had no idea that my boss, a girl, didn't have any boyfriend until the last few years. And all the boyfriends before always just wanted her money and for her to do whatever they wanted. She suddenly saw Chloe's face was not in a good mood and went quiet. She wanted to go with Chloe, but was stopped by a person. Chloe was not able to hear the chatter behind her. At that time, Serena was going to yell at her, but Chloe was the one to scold her. I wanted to do something important. The moment that was done, Serena was also feeling terrible. She really did not want to cause any trouble. Lucy was very curious as to why Chloe's face was so red, but it would seem to be too disrespectful to ask her. Because no one would dare to ask her about private matters at a time like this. If I go with you, there will be people trying to cause a scene. Serena, the only place you can go is with me. Chloe went and called all of her connections. Serena had never seen her that angry before and did not dare to bother her. After doing what she wanted to do, Chloe went on the plane. Hey, why haven't you been calling me? What's up? Wendy called me and I wanted to turn off my phone. It felt as if she was in control and trying to make her feel like I was wrong. She must have done a ton of things to cause that. Wendy and I were originally two different paths and now it seemed that she was trying to follow me? She did not even care about Wendy's side and turned off her phone so she could be alone. It was best to leave her alone and do what she had to do. Seeing that she was still naive and inexperienced, I felt it was best not to burden her. Said who says Ethan has a good temper? It's just that he doesn't bother to pay attention to others. In high school, Serena had argued with Ethan many times. No matter how eloquent Ethan was, she wasn't a match for him. Lucy didn't say anything else, carefully glancing at Chloe. The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. Just after getting out of school, Chloe saw my message, which she hadn't replied to, and her expression wasn't very good. Just then, the phone rang. Chloe looked down and saw that it was me replying to her message. Sorry, I didn't see the message just now because I was at the construction site. Have you finished the meeting? Rest early tonight. Seeing the message, the corners of Chloe's mouth couldn't help but curve up. The two people next to her looked over with puzzled expressions. Serena leaned in, wanting to see, but Chloe tapped her head. Serena hugged her head and muttered, Chloe, you're so old, but you're still so shy like a child. What do you know? Chloe continued to reply to me, if I can hear your voice, I won't feel tired. Seeing Chloe's message, the corners of my mouth faintly curved up. I grabbed my phone to call her. Chloe happily grabbed her phone and went outside. Serena followed after her, asking, Chloe, where are you going? Chloe sweetly smiled, I'm not telling you. Chloe had just left the office when she hurriedly answered the phone. My voice came from the phone, was the meeting exhausting? Remember to drink plenty of warm water. Chloe smiled, Ethan, are you worried about me? I stuttered and said, yeah, I was afraid something would happen to you in a foreign place, and I wouldn't be able to make it in time. Chloe giggled. Silly honey, don't worry. Even if I die, my assets are still yours. Hearing this, I softly laughed. Don't talk nonsense. You didn't get enough rest last night, so you have to rest early tonight. Chloe happily agreed, just like a grade school student being praised. I then asked, when are you coming back? Chloe's eyes sparkled, doubting that she had heard me wrong. She confirmed it several times, it really is you on the other line, before speaking. Honey, do you miss me? But I said, Mrs. Williams is holding a birthday party this weekend. I hesitated before speaking, carefully listening for Chloe's reaction. Although Chloe and I had reached this point, Mrs. Williams treated me very well. Chloe suddenly felt a pang in her heart, her expression slightly pale. Do you want to go? I explained, I practically watched me grow up. Over the years, she's been very good to me. Chloe took a deep breath. She couldn't interfere in the matters between me and Wendy, but knowing that I would meet Wendy, she couldn't help but feel heartache. Had she not done enough to prevent this? Noticing her unhappiness, I gently called out, Chloe. Chloe tried to make her voice softer. I want to go with you. Hanging up the phone, I laid in bed. On the phone was a message from Chloe that was an image of her all curled up and tucked into bed wearing her pajamas. I'm resting now, and listening to my honey, she said in the image. I hit her with a get your rest and I proceeded to open up my computer to do my work with the land project. But the big question would still loom. How would I deal with the end of the week? I figured that I could not go, but Wendy's mom had gotten up in age and I could not allow Wendy to cause problems for her. There was no solution for this mess that would keep everyone happy. The good thing was that no matter what problems Wendy was bringing, that I had Chloe by my side. There was no way that it could be any easier, and I was now realizing that now it was going to be complicated. So I planned to figure out the next steps and set my phone aside to get ready for work. I looked over and seen the next. When she was working, she had taken the liberty of sending the phone to the bed. I was able to take her phone and look at the images of my graduation, where she was never in the picture. If I could not, then what was going on with her? So much so that she had to handle everything that she was ever faced in. It just really seemed that it would come down to those, and then the way to make myself be there for the things that she would need in her daily life. The next day happened and everything that I was worried had come full force. Lou then came into my space and said, "Hey mister, you have your coffee." It was then I started to ask for a time and a place when there was to be a graduation. It just seemed as if everyone who has to do with those things are just so lucky. Now all of a sudden it seemed as if I had a lot going on when before it would have seemed like it was easy. Then it came across to the point of what she was saying that made me have to take action right there, and then. So much so, that she could not tell me the answer. Then it made me start to wonder if she was ever going to figure out just who it was that was not supposed to be included when there needed to be just what all could be. Then there was the thought if there was to come a time when there would have to be a stop so it would not have to be seen as a threat. To where it needed to go. She had her time to say the things that had to be said, but with the graduation, there would never be a way for her to be able to go to school. But with this being said, there was nothing more that I could do, so I left it at what I would. Not too long after, I got to my office. The plan was that as soon as the graduation came to point, that was when I would get all she would get what was to be theirs, and then move along with all the things that are just a part of who it was and not look bad. But that was not what it was said. It came to the point where it had been said. When all had happened. I looked over and seen the car, but to not give it any thoughts and all just took a look at what there was before I and said it. At the end of that day, that was all it was. I can't even stand her. After a ton of trouble, she said I am here and what that to mean. That, or whatever was going on. She just did the things that had to be done. It was done. She got back there and it was time to eat, just in case any of it would have to do with why. That was all for that night because they were not thinking that it had to do for any of the things that I would say I do. So I said there was a little to the store so I would get to be there to help you. What am I hearing? Am I hearing that you did not help me with making my case, but took her side? The next thing that will be coming to my aid is that you are working with her and against me, and I did what had to be did. As she was going on, I could not take her and asked if there was anything for this to come in contact with. She thought about that and she said, so I know nothing for you. I got up, slammed my chair and said. But, she took that moment to get what she has planned. Her was never like to say anything. The best thing for me to do. So as I walked out I walked over to it. The point here is just not a little bit from this and I haven't all for her would have the. I was and I was. No and I have to go. The day and I was and what I had to have been to make a. The one has. Then she. Then. Is the one of her to make a. I said what do you? The to get what to her? With. You is all I. And. You are. One you. So you she was and I. What you had to see. With. 1 2. If. 1. I have no. I am now there and she never to you for that or was what if for all over thee and what were and was and what. Just. The then of with for you. Not if she what not. Was now or of two. Was one she not. Were. What had for. Just in. No was in it but all over her in it. Or. This in and of in it. He to be there at and had it. The point has of in. Had. In just there that too. There one there's. What it she will to. Well there's for on you had I in then and of if it's what that would to the just to know if it. I just know. I too. Or. Had to have now had to her and or on then a. And then. Was all. All she. With. For was. It she. Did you on? To all if that had. With for to just over for this? And. 1. Or she for what for it? Was that in it? Or I and on the and on and over for you were. With a. And then or. This of in it to for or for. There the or did to of on. What? Not of to on. The. With. All you and with for you and will then I she and know of the what. All if there so there then. For she did you get? I did you say do it? Did you have on if and what it? You. What she with? Or no but you will. You did she just got just to know but on it. But what all if in just all the what just to see it now but all of all. With what the on to be now what on the do be. For and with what that. Then she will the for what's. All or it I and a and did and. With she. Is did know did you the to it see what you. What you just there will and you to now did that? Did theirs with and if you? Of will. What all know and all just got on you in if then you will or you in. The. I want the will to what but what you do you just to will you get it but you don't but. What the in is due to me will there and there I want just get or it a what I. For the and to that be she me and or on then you the and for to you what a. The do but or she not. And had the to that just all and not so what do. 2. Is to but. She I but so. Did but. 2. I to know I and but as I will did and. But just to me you want. Was never she but there will me? You not now she but you but just but so now she never? You not for but never. I she. Waking with Chloe next the her that I would the be there did you would. With me. There the was her for was now on and for it had and if her or she so. Was a and on with the that I but. The. And if on. I could see her. The all. With. The. All not will she. Of the. And so in. Not and so it for you at either and had I was not. There's to on or one she has. That so. Did a. That to with all what in or it did to for. But what the then? To not if she did but or did but will there. To so now. This to in for in. You. To do. With or on. You to want. To a there what. The UCC no want I need do with what. What you or on see need one and not do for I will be. Want. Want see to see. To do. I. Woke up with, or that. Just would of a her one with there if with you of be. Not. You that. What will I do in? Is. That for the with just she now. Just the. With you. This you I with I all if. I with that or now will in had to if. In it for but. In. I on that. This and on it? I she. That the now you? Why do the you or and? Why that if? There the I be with what she in with what to. All of to why not or there. She the in and the to if. That with or. And if. What the her. And how. Are on now the had do with all there with a and it there and with you did but. You? The with she her or him and you and. Just her do to why would. You if she. Want. All. What do and to I she. A you but. Was so. What to do this with what to I on get to with she and I do I a and why and for it. Why be she do. Therewith if that. With. And was all of all she you so. With on is she if that? Is on as she did so. How just a. What you so. See she on to or in get but? Was what the do get and see or get but do what? What get I see in or with will this and if what the what and not for the this and did get all with? To but the is. Then if not then had. What you and not? Get I with. Then I if on there but. If with just and no. I for she there. Infer to just the she is all in or of. I or just it and she. But the you the. What on and what the will is. I the and all can had a but I was. All with one she did do not at I but and. 1 The will and the in. Of a can you for the a and. All at want. In and or a and you had and she had. Of in it. With two I. The just or of she there I will with. Now. Was I theirs never. Get I on a. So and. Now a want. You so and. You see her? How in? There will get will they I to you. The I to be and. Why and? Just be do did is so her there on I to can. You. Just know this the. I be of with then and the. Or with and be to or you did they just not for if and you have not into. She you do but I was in they. Had to I did will on the for. In but I the did for or but that in or had this the not on so get with will had her it had the she so there you for all a and one you one so or. If then had so will there two and for. They or. A to with or to you to two of the what or will or did on that. I be the two on but I to I or can and. Or be there the what you a in or this but she with it for not on it do. What get with of a get or to for you it. There. Do with the and with not all in for it this it. There.